This is to be able to share it after the fact for anyone that couldn't make it tonight. But thank you for all of you being here. Never in my wildest dreams did I expect to be having a virtual parent orientation, but here we are. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody here just a sec. But we're all probably getting pretty good at Zoom by now. And that's kind of the theme of the summer, just adapting to our new normal that everyone's slowly adjusting to. And I'm confident that we will all have a fun and safe summer program. And more on what our new normal is going to look like will come soon here. Before we get into the details of that, though, I want to introduce myself to those of you I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet. My name is Cameron Mclaren. I'm the sailing director here at Long Beach Yacht Club, and I'm in my second year. I grew up in Newport Beach, started sailing at age 8 down at Lido Isle Yacht Club. I became an avid Sabbath sailor, laser sailor, FJ sailor before jumping into coaching at Lido Isle Yacht Club. And a few years later, I met Jess Gary, who recruited me to BCYC, where he was the program director at the time. He and I go back pretty far. After several years there, I went and worked for Newport Harbor Yacht Club for 3 years as a summer coach. And then I went back to BCYC as a head coach. And then I took over as their program director. Around that time, I also started coaching the Newport Harbor High School sailing team. And I stayed on there for 7 years. And it was just last year that I reconnected with Jess, and he again recruited me to join the ranks here at LBYC. So I'm honored to be your sailing director here. Sailing and teaching is my passion. This will be my 7th year as a sailing director and my 16th year in the youth sailing world. So I've seen it all at this point, except for COVID. This is new. So fresh challenge for all of us. Next, I'd like to introduce Christina Mnster. She's here tonight as our committee chair for the Youth Advisory Committee. Thank you to all the committee members as well for attending tonight. This committee has been very helpful in vetting all the new policies you're about to hear about, and it's a great way to get involved in the junior sailing scene at the club if you're interested. I'd also like to thank our fleet surgeon, Dr. Peter Welty, for joining us this evening, and all he's done recently to help us prepare for the club's reopening, which I can imagine has been no small feat. He will be available at the end of this orientation to answer any questions pertaining to our new health protocols, as well as share his perspective as a medical professional as we head into the summer program. Now, I'm sure you're eager to hear from some of our rockstar summer coaches. They couldn't all make it tonight, but we've got 5 out of our 7 here. And I'm going to let each of them spend a couple minutes just introducing themselves so you can get to know them a little bit before the first day. We'll start out with Andy Karst. She's going to be our Sabbath novice and Sabbath C3 coach. Andy Karst doesn't look like she's on our list, so we're going to move on to Brian Trammell. Brian's going to be our intro to laser coach and our laser racing coach.
Hi everyone, my name is Brian Trammell. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you, Brian.
Okay. I'm from Houston, Texas. Grew up sailing in Maine originally, and then in high school I started to do the whole U.S. laser circuit. Now I'm just finished my freshman year at Tufts in Boston, where I'm on the sailing team and I'm majoring in economics. And I'm really excited to be in Long Beach this summer.
Awesome, thanks, Brian. Next we have Grace Benzoll. She is going to be a returning novice coach, as well as Sabbath A's through C2s in the afternoon.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm currently down in Naples, Florida, but I go to Jacksonville University. I'm a double major in business and sociology, and I'm also on the co-ed team race, match race, and offshore team there. I learned to sail my freshman year of high school. I went to boarding school in Rhode Island, Portsmouth Abbey. I didn't have a spring sport, ended up loving sailing, spent 2 summers at Chicago Yacht Club, And last summer, I worked at Sail Newport's youth program in Rhode Island, and I'm super excited to be in California and to get back on the water.
All right. Thank you, Grace. Next, we have Trent Regatta, born and bred LBYC. He's going to be coaching our returning novice group as well as the Sabbath A's through C2s.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Trent Regatta. Obviously grew up here in Long Beach and been sailing at Long Beach Yacht Club my whole life. Really looking forward to getting to coach all the 8 Sabbaths this year. A little background about me. I go to the University of Miami, where I'll be a junior this upcoming year on the sailing team, studying econ and finance, and looking forward to a great year. Thanks, Cameron.
Thanks, Trent. And last but not least, our esteemed race director, Jess Gary, who's also going to be helping us out in the afternoons with our laser racing class.
A lot of familiar faces. It's pretty fun for me to be on this side. Big thank you to Cameron for giving me this opportunity. Kind of going back to my roots, but I'll start from scratch to give you the whole rundown. Jess Gary, born and raised Cleveland, Ohio. Sailing was introduced to me by my parents, so it's a very near and dear sport that taught me a lot about competitiveness, dedication, hard work, family, friends, and a lot of things that I've carried throughout my whole life, a lot of those same traits. Ended up racing in the Midwest pretty heavily, a lot of Thistles, a lot of Highlanders, Lightnings, laser circuits, very competitive on the Great Lakes. So did a lot of that. Ended up in college to play lacrosse instead of sail. So I ended up at University of Northern Colorado for a secret mission to pretty much ski and snowboard on the side as much as I could. That pathwayed me into some more competitive sailing, and I got an opportunity to move out to California in 2005 to be the race director, or the sailing director, junior director at the Corinthian Yacht Club. At that point, Cameron and I kind of connected, him being a young up-and-comer and me as the junior director, and we started fostering a relationship there, working together for at least 3-4 years. And then I branched to Florida to work for Laser Sailboats, tried to be on the corporate side of the game. Did not like it, and Yacht Club in 2011. So with all the competitive sailing in Southern California, my opportunities all over the place, Long Beach Yacht Club has become my home. And it's really exciting for me this summer with a very different script, very different plan of what my normal Wet Wednesdays, racing director regattas and duties are, to be able to turn the page back a little bit and come back to coach lasers. So I'll be working in the afternoon with the laser guys and working with Brian. And Brian got some good recor from some of your college mates. So we got ourselves a good one there. And I'm really looking forward to working with you and all the laser sailors. Cameron has been busting his butt trying to get all this stuff put together, and he has a great package for the summer. I'm excited to be part of it.
Thank you, Jess, and thank you for your time this summer. I know you're a busy guy. 2 kids and lots of whirlwind going on.
We could have some excitement in about 10 minutes on dinner demands.
All right, so unfortunately, Cressa Wilmoth, who will be our safety officer this summer, her responsibilities are going to primarily be checking sailors in and out every day and ensuring the physical distancing and sanitation. She couldn't be here tonight, as well as Claire Ma, who will be our other Sabbath novice coach, as well as Sabbath C3s in the afternoon. But they'll be here very soon. Okay, next I'd like to dive into the nitty-gritty details here, and I'm going to share my screen with everybody. Give me just a moment. All right, can everyone see that? Oops. There we go. Okay, so we're on the club website here, and all the documents that are pertaining to our youth sailing program this summer are going to be posted. You're going to go to the Sail Programs tab, down to Junior Sailing, and then over to Documents. Documents is going to be kind of the home base for all this stuff. We're going to start with our 2020 summer program overview. Now, this document was emailed out to everybody a week ago. There have been some updates within the week, and so we're going to be going through this document with a fine-tooth comb here and answering any questions you guys have related to this. So as you all know, our junior program start date was delayed by 2 weeks from what we were originally hoping for. And our first day now is going to be on June 29th. Keep in mind, the first week, there is no practice on Friday in observance of Independence Day. Now you take a look at the class breakdown here. This will show you where each class will, well, first of all, what time they'll arrive, what time your pickup will be, where you're going to drop off and pick up, meeting location, rough age group, and the class cap. So we're limiting our classes this year to no more than 10 or 12. We're going to have 2 coaches for each class, and we're going to have several junior instructors helping out in the morning. Now, a couple of points I want to make about this. We've changed our check-in to the back gate of the clubhouse. This is going to be the entry point for junior sailing and only junior sailing. Anybody else, other members using the long dock or looking to go into the clubhouse will need to go around to the front gate, or sorry, the front entrance. Now, we have several classes down at the junior base. One of them in the morning, that's going to be our Intro to Laser class. And in the afternoon, that'll be the A's, B's, C1s, and 2s, and the laser racing class. Now, one thing you might notice is our C3s are going to be back at the clubhouse. As of now, I believe some of them have their boats down at the junior base, and some of them have them on the long dock. For this summer, we're going to need all the C3s at the clubhouse on the long dock. And the reason for this is just to reduce the number of kids on junior base docks in the afternoons. Scrolling down, we've got some mandatory things. Everyone who's here, give yourself a pat on the back for getting that first one done. Thank you. Next up, we have our Parent of the Day. Now, this is going to be a critical position this summer. It's new to LBYC, and I'm going to talk about the job description a little bit later, but just keep in mind that each sailor, their parent is required to serve at least 1 shift throughout the summer. You can serve more than 1 shift if you'd like. That's encouraged, especially if you'd like to see what's going on from sort of a front row perspective. But more to come on Parent of the Day. We've also got some mandatory forms and waivers. Now, the first one was part of registration. That was our depiction release and assumption of risk waiver. So everyone that's registered had to sign that to complete their registration online. But we do have an additional COVID-19 waiver now. This is posted on the website. If you go back to this documents page, it is right here. So you can click on that and print it out and then bring it in. You can also scan it and email it to me. But that will need to be on file prior to your child's first day in the program. Same goes for the immunization and physical release form. This should be nothing new to everybody. This was instituted last year. This year, nothing's changed with that. You will need to have your doctor sign and stamp this form. And again, you can either bring a hard copy into me before the first day or scan and email. Either way. Okay, next we have some important dates to share. Oh, it looks like we have a question.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So on that waiver, you filled it out last year and the immunizations wouldn't change for your children, like they're of the age where they don't have any more? Is it this, do we need to have it redone?
Unfortunately, yes. That's a great question. And the reason for that is the physical release, which is the other half of that form, is only good on an annual basis. So although your immunizations may not have changed from 2019 to 2020, the club is requiring a new physical release. And so it's kind of a package deal there.
Okay. Thank you. I see Brett has his hand raised too.
Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Great to see so many of you on the call. One edit to what Cam just presented, the release, we are expecting a slight final amendment from our judges advocates that has to do with infectious diseases, legalese and such. So as soon as that's available, so you may hold off on signing those at the moment. We are expecting a minor edit to that, and we'll get that out to you through Cam just as soon as we can. We're waiting for that final version as we speak.
Great, thank you for that update, Brett.
No problem.
Okay, moving on to our first important date coming up. We've got Rigging Day scheduled for Friday, June 26th. This will be a week from this Friday, and this is recommended for all Sabbath novice, returning novice, intro to laser, Sabbath C3, and anybody else that wants to get their boat tuned up and ship shape. We are requiring appointments to ensure the physical distancing, and so you can sign up at that link there. This is critical, especially if you just acquired a boat or you haven't used it since last summer. We need everyone's boat to be in working order before the first day if possible. Coaches aren't going to have time to go through repairs on that first day, and so let's get it taken care of ahead of time. We're going to have Bahia Marine Rigging on site, and they will have some parts and line and blocks and other odds and ends that you might need to get your boat up to speed. We'll also have coaches there who are going to help make minor repairs on site or advise on any necessary upgrades that we would recommend doing to your boat. So please sign up at that link and look forward to getting everyone's gear in order that day. Same day, starting on Friday, June 26th, we are going to have your LBYC gear, summer program gear, available for pickup. We'll also be taking orders that day too, and we can fulfill orders on site. We're going to have all of our inventory in by then, and so we've got some cool stuff coming. You can order it at the link there if you didn't already. There was an option to do it during registration, but you can also go back and add more if you'd like by following that link. Next, we have our swim test, capsize test. For some reason, most kids dread this, but it's no big deal. It's just a chance to go swimming off the dock, and they're going to have to tread water for a minute or so. They're going to have to swim a short distance, but it's pretty simple, and just got to make sure everybody is up to speed with their water safety. So don't forget a towel and change of clothes for that first day. We're also going to require a capsize test for everybody. That won't necessarily be on the first day, though. It's up to the coaches and their own lesson planning on when that will happen, but it will be sometime during the first week. And lots of kids, kind of fear capsizing, and this is a good way to sort of quash that and show them that it's not a big deal. We're also having our picture day the first week of the program on Wednesday, July 1st. So this year, we're going to give everybody a face buff instead of a t-shirt. And so we ask everyone to wear their provided buff for that picture. We will do our best to make sure everyone stays physically distanced. Probably going to have a row of sailors down on the dock and a row of sailors up on the sidewalk to give it that sort of two-tier separation. But don't forget your LBYC gear that day so you can represent in the picture. Another important date is our Junior Sailing Awards Banquet. This is a big one. Although banquets aren't permitted yet, we are anticipating that restriction to get lifted. And so looking forward to having a traditional awards banquet at the end of the summer, even if, we're outside, distance a little bit. Not quite sure how it's going to look yet, but there will be some form of recognition for our sailors at the end of the summer. And this will require reservations. So go ahead and just reserve your spot now so you don't have to think about it, and it'll be all good. Last date I want to talk about is Junior Sabbath Nationals. This is the big one, biggest regatta of the year for Sabbath sailors. It's scheduled for August 3rd through 6th. However, we do not currently have a host. And there is a meeting this evening regarding this regatta, as well as several other regattas. And we're standing by for information on that. There is a possibility that we'll get a new host for the event. Could also be canceled for this year. So we'll keep you posted on that. Okay. If you have any questions about dates, the junior sailing calendar is linked here. It's also on the club website. If you go to Sail Programs, Junior Sailing Calendar, it looks like this. And so you can scroll through and check out each event by month. It also lists which fleets it applies to and the location. You can see there's a lot of lines, strike-throughs there for the last several months, unfortunately. But luckily in July, we still have some fun stuff coming up. Okay, so let's go back to our overview. Okay, now we're going to get into our new policies. First of which is the Code of Conduct. Code of Conduct is a list of behavioral guidelines for all sailors in the program. This is all pertaining to our new social distancing policies and face coverings. So maintaining at least 6 feet of separation, always wearing a face mask, whether it's a buff or cloth mask, when on land. There's going to be no exceptions for that. Anytime you're on the water, face masks are not required unless you're on a boat with more than one person. And since we're sailing single-handed boats only, that shouldn't be an issue unless a sailor needs to get on a coach boat, in which case the coach and that sailor will need to have a mask on. We're also going to have hand sanitizing stations all over the place. We're going to have some on the regatta patio. We're going to have some down on the long dock. We're going to have some at the junior base. We're also working on getting a wash station set up down at the junior base with running water and soap. And we encourage using these hand sanitizing stations regularly, at a minimum every half hour or less. We're also going to have signage up and ground markings directing you to line up a certain way to respect the social distance policy. So keep an eye on that. Please observe all ground markings and signage. On the docks, we're going to use tape on the ground to designate individual rigging boxes. And so each sailor will have their own space to rig their boat. And we're going to instruct all the kids not to enter another sailor's box unless it's absolutely necessary, and make it quick. It's just a pass-through kind of thing. We're going to try to keep that separation the entire time during rigging. Anytime you do need to pass through someone's box, we need clear communication so that whoever that is aware that someone will be walking closer than 6 feet momentarily. Now, the next one's a big one. We're not going to allow any parents on the docks during program hours this year. This is to reduce congestion on the dock. We're already going to be maxed out on space with just the sailors, coaches, junior instructors, and so we can't have parents in the mix on that. And so parents will have to remain on the sidewalk above the long dock, or on the sidewalk above the junior base dock. And I thank you in advance for abiding by that policy. We'll make sure there's plenty of hands on deck to help kids flip their boats and get rigged up. Obviously, physical contact is a no-no. Keeping hands to yourself is important at all times. so we can't be sharing anything. I know it's crazy. We've been telling kids all their lives to share, but this is the one time that they can't. So no sharing of food, water bottles, clothing, or gear, equipment, you name it. If you've touched it, it's yours. I need to edit this because we have since been told that we can have 2 sailors in the bathroom at any given time. And we'll have to have an escort for the younger kids, the 7, 8, 9-year-olds. If they need to use the bathroom, we will have a junior instructor or a coach accompany them, so they'll never be in there alone. But maximum 2 at a time in the bathroom. We want everybody to arrive with sunscreen already on and already dressed to sail, to eliminate the need to use the locker rooms and to have to change and use the bathrooms. So if you could show up ready to go, that would make things much smoother for everybody. We also need you guys to stick to our drop-off and pickup schedule as closely as possible, just so that you know, we can minimize the amount of time waiting to start class. If everyone shows up on time, there might be a little bit of a line for the check-in process, but it will go quickly. We're going to have all the staff in place to check the kids in, and more on the check-in process to come. In addition to your normal sailing gear, I want everyone to have their own personal hand sanitizer. Obviously, you're going to need your own face covering, and that needs to be changed on a daily basis for the CDC guidelines. And everyone needs to come with their own water bottle. We won't have disposable cups available, and our water bottle fill station will be closed. So at least 1, maybe 2 water bottles would probably be the best practice for this summer to get you through your whole class. Now, we do have a few consequences for not abiding by these policies that have been listed here. First offense, they're going to get a verbal warning, and the coaches will explain to them why it's so important that they follow these rules. If there's a second offense, that sailor is going to be sent home for the day. So you'll get a call from me, and you'll need to come pick up your sailor ASAP. And for a third offense, if we have a sailor that's just disregarding the rules and has been told not to several times, they're going to be sent home for the week. Keep in mind, there will not be any prorates or refunds if your sailor misses class due to these code of conduct violations. So we're taking this extremely seriously, and we need everyone to abide by these policies this year. All right, next we have our sanitation protocols. Oops. So our sanitation protocols list all the ways we are going to be treating our gear. The #1 tool we're going to be using is SaniClean. So that's a chemical sanitizer, and all the coaches are going to be equipped with a bottle of SaniClean. They will be able to disinfect stuff on site as it's used for every observed use. Our safety officer will also have a bottle of SaniClean, and they'll be going around sanitizing touch points in real time. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Sanitation protocols, here we go. We're also going to have our touchless hand sanitizing stations. The soap dispensers in the bathrooms are being replaced by our maintenance department, and those will be touchless too. So we're going to be sanitizing door and gate handles, the gangway hand railings, the storage cage bars and locks under the pool decks. Same thing down at the junior base for the sheds, dolly handles, bathroom surfaces, whiteboards, markers, the marks that the coaches are using. So all that stuff will be cleaned on a very regular basis. We're also going to be applying a monofoil barrier to all the surfaces of our boats. And that includes our club boats, our club Sabbaths, our coach boats. And the monofoil is a different type of sanitation. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, but it remains on surfaces for an extended period of time. And so once it's treated, the monofoil stays there for up to 30 days, but we're going to be applying it on a weekly basis. Are there any questions about our sanitation policy? All right. Oops. We'll keep trucking along here with our overview. So as everyone knows, we're single-handed only this year, and that does include buddy sailing on single-handed boats, even with siblings. So at this point, only one sailor per boat. We're hopeful that later this summer, our club-owned double-handed boats, like our CFJs, our FIVAs, and our 420s, will be permitted in a private lesson format with siblings or cohabitators, but at this time, they are not. Stand by for updates to that. I already mentioned that everyone's going to be getting a face buff with their registration, but it is recommended to purchase more than one, whether it's another buff or sort of a regular cloth face mask. I think everyone should have at least a few of those on hand so you're not doing laundry every day, because it would be best to wear a new one every morning. Okay, now let's talk about our drop-off and pickup procedure. So we're going to have a screening process that takes place at drop-off, and whether that's the clubhouse entrance to the back gate or the junior base boatyard, depending on your class meeting location. Sailors will be dressed and ready to sail. Please try to use the bathroom beforehand, and everyone's going to be staying 6 feet apart. There will be markings on the ground to help visualize that. And then when you get to the front of the line, the staff will ask several health screening questions. And these questions are down here. It's going to be, the first one will be, in the past 10 days, have you experienced any of the following symptoms? Fever, cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, chills, body aches, fatigue, loss of taste or smell, or congestion? Second question will be, have you been exposed to someone who has symptoms related to COVID-19? And the third question will be, are there any members of your household on quarantine for exposure to COVID-19? And assuming you answer yes, no to all of those. Next step will be a touchless thermometer screening. And so the person checking in will use the touchless thermometer, which takes a matter of seconds to read a temperature. And threshold that's been determined by our fleet surgeons has been 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit. So if your sailor reads 100.4 degrees or higher, they will need to go home for the day. And per the City of Long Beach day camp protocols, they need to stay at home for at least 72 hours before turning to our program. I know this is kind of a bummer, but we're hopeful that everyone stays under 100 degrees this summer and we won't have an issue with it. The final step of check-in will include a scanning procedure, and this will be on your LBYC app. So for younger kids, parents will need to be present for this. For older kids with their own smartphones, they can do it themselves. Basically what you're going to do is you're going to launch the app. Well, first you have to download it if you haven't already, and then open up your app and then click on the menu in the top left corner. And you'll see a long menu. Near the bottom, there's something called Club ID. Click on the Club ID and that'll bring up a barcode. And the sailor just has to hold their phone up and we will have scanners to scan them in. The scanning policy will also be in place for leaving the pickup. So this is going to aid contact tracing. That way we can tell who is at the club at what times, and we'll be able to trace it back if we do have any issues with COVID-19. Finally, I'd like to remind everyone, please pick up your sailor on time. We're not going to have the bandwidth to watch sailors after hours, and so we need everybody to be picked up within 10 minutes of the end time. Are there any questions about the drop-off pickup procedure? Okay.
I just have a quick question. If we have other older siblings or other family members that are doing drop-off, can they just use the same ID in order to do drop-off and pickup, or does it have to be a parent?
I believe each person should have a unique ID. And so if one app, if you're able to pull up your siblings or your other kids on the same smartphone, then they're able to do that. And I think Brett can fill us in a little more on that.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for the question. That's right. It's not going to matter who in the family picks them up. If they don't have the actual ID, the staff can manually check them out. We have a process for that. It's much faster if everyone has their ID. So for any of those kids that do have their own smartphone, we encourage that. That'll be a great help for the coaching staff.
Cool. And if it's not a family member that's going to do the pickup and drop off, but it is someone that is approved, is that okay? Or does it have to be a family member that's on the account?
No, we can manually check those kids out.
Great. Thanks.
Thank you, Brett. Okay. Another question?
Can they use? I'm muted.
We can hear you.
Okay. Can they use the membership card that they were all issued?
Brett, I'll defer that one to you.
I don't believe that has the scanner on it, but if they don't have the mobile app, we can use that to validate the name and check them out. Obviously, the coaches will know who they are in pretty short order. So yes.
Because a grandchild the parent won't have the scan on their phone.
Yeah, no problem, Cindy. We can handle that.
Okay.
All right. Just some reminders. We've already gone over the dock policy. No parents on the docks. Oh, we have another question?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
My grandkids are going to be coming on their bicycles. So what should they bring with them for identification in and out?
I'm sorry, repeat that. What should they bring when?
They're coming by bicycle on their own.
Okay.
So what should they bring with them for identification?
Well, do they have a dependent card at this point?
I don't know.
Okay, if not, that shouldn't be a problem. And we'll.
I think my wife said they do.
They do. Perfect. Have them bring their dependent cards with them, and that should be enough.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. We're going to keep scrolling down to personal gear. It's kind of a good segue on what to bring. So this year, all of our gear, personal gear, is going to have to be stored outside the building. So at the clubhouse, we'll have our regatta patio, which is fenced in. So kids can leave their stuff on the ground along the perimeter of that patio. There will be markings designating appropriate space between each backpack. But our day lockers in the bathroom are currently unavailable. And so that being said, there's no way to lock up your stuff at the club. And so highly recommend do not bring any valuables with you. You need to bring a phone with you. Get a waterproof bag for that and bring it in your boat. That would be the best scenario there. So your list of personal items should include hand sanitizer, face mask, your life jacket, sunscreen, sunglasses, and a hat, shoes and sandals, swimsuit and a towel, a windbreaker in case it gets chilly, water bottle, and a snack. And for the racers, don't forget your watch and gloves for the afternoon group, and then a backpack to put it all in. It looks like we had a question. Go ahead.
Oh, it's Christina. So for the children at the sea base, it goes the same. It's the same way as we do at the yacht club, where the kids are responsible for their own gear, take it on their own boats. They're not going to be allowed to put anything on the coach boat, correct?
I believe that's correct. Yeah, you're not going to be able to use the coach boat as a gear drop like normal. And so anything you need to bring with you on the water for practice should be in your own boat. I know a lot of the sailors have dock boxes there they can use to lock stuff up. Anybody that doesn't, we can lock them up in the sheds down there. But it would be best to use your own personal dock box.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. As I mentioned, our bathrooms are going to be open to only 2 people at a time and will be routinely disinfected. And we will have a hand wash station available at the junior base. Regarding bathrooms down for kids at the junior base, we're currently in the process of getting keys to the marina bathrooms for boat owners. And so a parent of the day who will be stationed at the junior base in the afternoons will have that key and can let sailors into the bathroom down there. Did I see another question? No? Okay. All right, moving on to lunch. Because we have fewer staff this year and our staggered start times, we're not going to be able to do a supervised lunch program like normal. So everyone should bring a light snack with them. That way they can eat during the program hours to tide them over. And children under 12 years old must be picked up at the scheduled end time. We will not have anywhere for them to go after class is over. Children 12 and older can make a reservation on the pool deck. And at this point, we are requiring reservations for everybody. Now, there is potential for creating a group reservation if we have a number of sailors wanting to stick around on the pool deck during lunch. But at this time, everyone needs to have an individual reservation. Stand by for updates to that, though. For water, everyone needs their own water bottles. And let's see, at least 2 would probably be best, especially for the afternoon when it gets pretty hot. And as I mentioned earlier, the interior areas of the clubhouse are going to be closed to sailors during program hours. So all the briefings are going to take place outside. We'll have the regatta patio set up for briefings. Coaches may do some briefings down on the long dock or the junior base boatyard docks. So we'll do our best to get the necessary equipment. We'll have TVs available for video debriefs down at the clubhouse. And so I would anticipate some of the debriefs for the A's, B's, C1s, and 2s, and maybe the laser group to be at the clubhouse sometimes to be able to take advantage of the video. But most of the time it will be at their meeting location. Lastly, we have our hose policy, and we're trying to minimize touch points. And so sailors are to refrain from using the hose this summer. We're going to have coaches or junior instructors operating the hose. That'll probably help with efficiency in terms of time, as well as reducing touch points. And then it'll be disinfected, of course, after it's used. Got a few additional notes here to go over. Our junior instructors are sailors in the program who are 12 years or older, and they're going to be volunteering their time to help the coaches out. They're going to get some community service hours for it. It's a chance for them to build their resume. They get to shadow a coach and gain some experience. They're going to be there to help load Sabbaths in and out of the racks, help the beginner sailors with the rigging, and as much of that as possible. And if you have a sailor that is interested in joining us and they're 12 years or older, you can sign them up on the registration form. If anyone needs a spot for their boat, please contact me. We're going to be shuffling around some boat slips in the next week and making spots available for those who are going to be at the junior base or at the long dock this summer, actively sailing in the program. And just keep in mind, storage at the club is billed to your membership account, $15 a month. For Sabbath racers, don't forget to renew your INSA membership if you haven't already. I think the deadline was extended, and so they haven't instituted the late fee yet, I don't believe. And you can follow this link to go ahead and do that. They're going to get a cool little sticker. It's actually LBYC colors this year, black and gold. So you're going to want that on the back of your boat to participate in any regattas. The last thing I want to touch on here on this document is the prorates and refund policy. So we're going to be doing full refunds up to the 3rd day of the program, which is the normal policy. But this year it's a little different because we will continue to prorate by the week throughout the whole program. So if anything changes for your family, whether it's related to COVID-19 or not, we can prorate by the week. And keep in mind, if you do take a week off in the middle of the program, we're going to require at least one private lesson before they can return to class to cover any missed ground. Unless they're one of the older sailors who are already up to speed. This primarily applies to novice sailors because that's a progression-based class, and any missed days will set them back. But rest assured that if you sign up for the full program and anything changes for you, you're not 100% locked into that. We're trying to be as accommodating as we can this year. And if anything changes on our end that results in a shortened program, prorates credits will be automatically applied to your account. So don't worry about that. Okay, are there any questions about the program overview document as a whole? All right. Now I'd like to shift our attention to our Parent Sailor Manual. And we're not going to go through this line by line like we did the last one, but there are some things in here we need to talk about. I encourage everybody to read this if you haven't already. It's got lots of detail on every aspect of our program, and just about every question can be answered in this document. And so I'd like to, we've already talked about this. Okay. Email will be my primary communication to all parents this summer. So please, please, please check your email daily because I may send out updates on a daily basis if things are changing in our world. I will also be sending out regular weekly newsletters. Hopefully most of you are already subscribed to that, but that will be the #1 source of information. It'll have links for signups. It'll have all kinds of details, so make sure you're checking that regularly. All right. Touched on that. Scrolling down here to regattas. Let's talk about regattas real quick. So we have our Summer Bay Racing Series. It's a little bit abbreviated this summer due to the shortened program, but we do still plan on holding Tuesday twilights in the evenings on Tuesdays and bay races on Wednesday afternoons. We're only going to have it looks like a 3-week series for twilights and a 3-week series for the bay racing. And then, like normal, in our last week, we'll be having our championships. We'll have a Sea Fleet Championship and our Alamitos Bay Fleet Championship. Those are always fun. And from what I'm hearing, ABYC is trying to get some Sabbath sailors in the ranks. And so we may have some inter-club competition this summer, which would be great. Let's see, we've got our Sabbath 2 North Regatta, which will be down at Balboa Yacht Club. I believe it's on June 8th or July 8th. And that's for 11 years old and under. I encourage everyone who's eligible to participate in that. Obviously, more details will come. And then the top 10 from that regatta move on to the championship series, which is currently slated to be hosted by us at Long Beach Yacht Club. However, that will be also on the agenda for tonight's INSA meeting. That's the International Naples Sabbath Association. And they're going to be discussing on whether or not the championship will take place due to travel from San Diego and having lots of guests at our yacht club. So more to come on that. For Beach to Bay, we are in a holding pattern. Given that the social aspect of Beach to Bay is one of the primary reasons to hold the regatta, we're trying to figure out a way to do this in a safe and physically distant way. We're also working with the Coast Guard and the Marine Department at Alamitos Bay to see if we can even hold a regatta that big. So more details on that to come. For Dutch Shoe, I've been hearing that San Diego Yacht Club is planning to host it, but will likely postpone it till later in the summer. This could be in August. I don't have a date for everyone yet. San Diego hasn't posted a date yet, but we're expecting something on that by the end of the month. And so I will communicate that as soon as I know. I do know that Junior Olympics has been canceled. It was scheduled to be at Santa Barbara this year, but it will not be happening. Dick Sweet, another agenda item for the INSA meeting tonight. Stand by for that. The North Series, Shadden Series, Perry Series, those are all off-season events, and so those do not pertain to summer program. I'm hoping that things are back to normal enough by then to be able to go through with those series. FJ Nationals has also been canceled. Alamitos Bay was scheduled to host that this year, and they have canceled all their events through July 31st. Sabbath Nationals we already discussed. Okay, parent participation. I already mentioned the Youth Advisory Committee. This committee is a group of parents that are involved in the program, and they help advise the direction of the program. And we have monthly meetings, although we haven't had any meetings in a while due to everything that's been going on. Looking forward to getting those going again. And any parents that would like to join the committee, please reach out to Christina, and she's the committee chairman. She can help get you involved. As you know, our summer kickoff party was scheduled for last Friday. Unfortunately, that had to be canceled. Picture Day is still a go. And Pirate Day, we're working on that. We're hoping to be able to put something together towards the end of the program for Pirate Day. Okay, now Parent of the Day. This is a big one. Like I said, this is new to LBYC this year. And so Parent of the Day is going to be a volunteer position. We're going to have an AM shift and a PM shift. AM shift will be at the regatta patio, essentially manning the back gate. Our safety officer will obviously be there to help facilitate the screening process, but Parent of the Day will be there on site for the entire morning to make sure that only junior sailors, coaches, or junior instructors are going in and out of that gate. We don't want membership to use that gate as an access point to the club. Another big job for the Parent of the Day is going to be to enforce the COVID code of conduct. Make sure everyone's wearing their face masks and staying socially distanced and washing their hands frequently. The Parent of the Day will also be there right next to the bathrooms to help regulate how many are in the bathroom at a given time. So basically the routine is going to go like this. The Parent of the Day will arrive and grab the binder and first aid kit out of either the sailing office if you're in the morning, or at the Sabbath gear shed, which is down at the junior base if you're in the afternoon. And the combo for that shed is listed here. It's $15.30. You're going to be watching the back gate. You're going to be enforcing the no parents on the dock policy if necessary. I'm hoping that won't be a problem though. You're going to supervise the activities going on the patio there. Coaches should have everything covered down on the docks in terms of the rigging. But if all the coaches are down on the docks with the sailors and there's some sailors up in the patio, either getting gear out of their bags or using the bathroom, we're going to look to the Parent of the Day to monitor their activity. Constant reminders to all the sailors, in addition to our COVID code of conduct. We don't want them running. We don't want them, obviously, no horseplay. We want to keep shoes on feet at all times, pick up trash, all the normal stuff. And we want to make sure that everyone's staying out of the off-limits areas. That includes the parking lots. If you're down at the junior base, that includes the Sea Scout docks. So we don't want kids running along the dock past the hoist and around the corner over to where the Sea Scouts are operating. We don't want them wandering off into the marina either. And for those at the clubhouse, that includes the regatta room and the Jobson room, and basically the whole interior of the club, as well as the pool deck. You're also going to be handing out Band-Aids as necessary. Sometimes, you know, we can go through a lot of those, but if there's anything worse than a Band-Aid, I will be available to help with that. So please let me know if that's the case. And then towards the end of the session, each day, please remind sailors to take all their gear with them. We don't want any personal items left behind. And we will have the bathroom available. I just got word that our Sea Scout base bathroom, which we were all lined up to use, is no longer available. And so we are working with the Alamitos Bay Marine Department to use the boat owner restrooms, which the nearest one to the junior base is about halfway between the clubhouse and the base. And at the end of your shift, just return your binder and first aid kit to where you found it. And if you're at the base, make sure the sheds are locked before you leave.
Cameron?
Yeah, go ahead.
How are parents communicating, like say with you, if there is an emergency? Are we given a radio or?
Good question, yes. So we'll have a VHF radio available to the parent of the day that will be sanitized before each use. And we will be monitoring channel 7.2, and that's a good thing. I will add that to this document. Thank you for bringing that up. I'll also include my cell phone number in the parent of the day binder as a contact if you're unable to reach me on the radio. Okay.
Cameron,
yeah,
sorry. Just to clarify on the parent of the day, that what's the term? So they're there from, if they have the afternoon, they're there 1 to 4 straight through?
I'm sorry, I didn't say the shift schedule. So yeah. For the AM shift, we're going to be starting that at 8:30 in the morning. That's when you arrive and sort of get yourself settled. Kids will start showing up within 10 or 15 minutes of that for their check-in screening, and class will begin at 9, and you'll be on duty there until 12:30. For the afternoon shift, we ask that parent of the day to be on duty at 12:30. And again, that will be about 10 minutes before the first kids start arriving. And we'll have quite a bit of activity down at the junior base between our Sabbaths and our lasers. And so that shift will last until the last class ends, which will be at 4:30. So a 4-hour shift for each. Okay, please take some time to go through the junior sailing program rules with your sailor. These are not related to COVID-19, so we're not going to go through these line by line, but they are still very important, and we need all the kids in our program to be aware of these rules so that we have a nice, smooth summer. Lastly, in this document, you'll find the physician's release form that I mentioned earlier. That's going to be required for everybody. This is also on the documents page of the website. Please get this taken care of before your sailor's first day. All right, that's a lot of talking, and I want to thank everyone for bearing with me and sitting through all that. I'm trying to figure out how to unshare. Let's see. Okay. All right, next I'd like to open it up to any questions. Any questions that we didn't get to during the session?
Cameron, you have some questions in the chat.
In the chat, okay. Let's see here.
I have a question about renting the laser.
Okay, I'm afraid we don't have any club-owned lasers, and so we won't be able to rent any of those boats to laser sailors. So that's going to be bring your own boat.
Okay.
I'm scrolling through the chat now. If you're renting a boat, do you need to go for rigging day? This is not required because our club boats will be all brushed up by staff prior to the first day. If you'd like to come down and check out your boat and find out where all the gear is so that you're ready to go on day one, you're welcome to do so. But we do ask that you schedule an appointment. For second session kids, will there be a later swim test? Correct. So for session 2, which begins on July 13th, there will be another swim test administered for anyone that did not take the first one, as well as a capsize test during that first week for second session sailors. Good question. Okay, scrolling down, I think we got to beach to bay. Got to the member cards. Bear with me here. Thanks to Brett and Jess for answering some questions while I was talking. Will the FJs be in the Tuesday twilights? At this time, they will not. Unfortunately, we haven't gotten permission to use our double-handed club boats yet. Okay. Are there any other questions that we haven't gotten to yet? Okay. Well,
I just want to ask again about the laser. So
Okay.
if I don't buy a laser, I can't rent a laser, and if my child is over the age of 12 or 11, then I should just not sail.
Well, I guess your best option would be to browse some of the laser classifieds and find a boat for sale on there.
Okay.
You can also talk to some of the members that own lasers and see if you can arrange a private charter agreement. But I'm afraid Long Beach Yacht Club cannot facilitate that.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, somebody had come home in the middle of me asking the question, so I had to stop for a second.
Oh, no problem.
Thanks.
Hey, Cameron, it's Brett.
Hey, Brett.
Are you aware, on that question, are you aware of any other local clubs that our members may call their sailing departments to see if there are other clubs that have lasers that they would lease out, or members that are looking to share their boats that aren't being used in their own programs?
From what I've heard, lasers are in very high demand right now, and lots of programs have gone to single-handed sailing only, and so they're unfortunately hard to find in terms of an institutional sense, just because the other clubs will be using them. But if I get any that come across my desk that are for sale or that are available, I'd be happy to forward.
Thank you.
Of course. All right, if there aren't any other questions, I'd like to turn it over for the remainder of our session to Dr. Peter Welty. He's just gonna give us some closing remarks and kind of share his point of view as a medical professional with everything that's going on. Dr. Welty, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got it. I just needed to unmute.
Hey.
My name is Peter Welty. I'm father of 4 and actually 3 plus almost my 4th grandchild. So that's probably my biggest activity these days. But I've also been a member of the club for about 22, 23 years, and 12 years of those as fleet surgeon. So I'm concerned with taking care of the health of the club, of course, and its membership. And that includes most of you, if not all of you, in the area. So, gosh, you guys are a really incredible timing to have all these changes with this COVID stuff going on. And Cameron thought it'd be a great idea if anybody had any questions about what's going on, and even the parents. I mean, I know you had some exposure during the school year, but some of this translates a little bit differently on the water. So it's just a resource for knowledge, and knowledge is power. So if people can disseminate that, that's useful. It is a real illness. I know sometimes people kind of get, oh, gee, I'm a little sick of this COVID stuff. Well, it's true, but let me tell you, there's 42 people at Long Beach Memorial with this diagnosis in the hospital. And there are no children now, but there were 2 a week and a half ago. So it's nothing to fool around with. And I think Cameron's done an excellent job of going through safety items and, you know, how to be safe. And that's what it's all about, is how to be safe, how to protect yourself from getting this horrible virus. Some of the stuff might seem kind of ridiculous about locker rooms being closed and bathrooms with only 2 toilets. And it's like the world's kind of caving in on you, but it's all about exposure. And when anywhere in the yacht club, if you're standing, people are going to say things. You can't really, oddly enough, you can't just stand around on the balcony. You have to be moving from one area to the other. And if you're moving from one area to the other, you really need a mask. The only time you wouldn't use the mask is for eating or drinking water or something like that. And Cameron went through when you use it on the water and when you don't use it in the boat. So there's just a lot of new rules, things you didn't need to clutter your mind with before. You were concerned primarily with sailing and the art of sailing, but now you've got this whole new viral thing. So again, we're here for information if you need it. Even the parents, if there's even an idea to have maybe some sort of session or something for parents only, if there's enough interest to help explain what's going on, maybe midway through, and what adjustments may need to be made. It's a pretty fluid virus. So what Cameron just went through, some of that stuff could change in a week or 2, because as they, forecast changes, some of it's of a guess, but some of it isn't a guess. And so there's some pretty scientific ways they can measure what's going on with the virus worldwide, which then can help us kind of focus in here on Long Beach. So any questions, let me know. I apologize for equipment failure earlier. You're probably getting dizzy I was spinning my iPhone around because I couldn't get the screen to show. But so I switched to a laptop, and I think we're in good shape now. So in any event, if there's any question, let me know. If not, that's fine. Have a great evening, and we'll catch up with you down the road.
Thank you, Dr. Welty. Any questions for our fleet surgeon? All right, well, that's good. Hopefully the overview was thorough enough. Thanks for everyone for bearing with me. And I hate to have to harp on all this stuff at the beginning of summer when we're all supposed to be getting excited to get out on the water and go sailing. And I assure you, if we can comply with all these new rules, we will be doing just that. We'll be having a blast. The coaches are going to be focused on making your kids better sailors. And I'm really looking forward to having everyone back at the club here soon. So with that said, and there's no other questions, I'd like to adjourn the meeting. And if you guys think of anything between now and the first day, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can shoot me an email, give me a call. I do get voicemails, even though I'm not back at the club quite yet. And I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Starting this Friday, though, we'll be up and running.
Okay.
Thank you, Cameron.
Thank you,
Thanks, Cameron.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cameron.
Well done.
Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Cameron.
Thank you.
Vanish to the pool house again.
Who?
Crompton's.
Who's Spanish?
Crompton said.